celebrating 11 years of possibility. Pilot Flying J and Halloran Hilton Hill present Anything is Possible. Today's guest, David Martin.
Welcome to Anything is Possible. I'm Halloran Hilton Hill, and my guest today is the one and only David Martin. Welcome to the broadcast.
Thanks for having me.
You know what I was thinking about, and I want to start here. I was thinking about the number of ex-NFL athletes that are in Knoxville, that played at UT, that came back to Knoxville. You joined that fraternity. Why did you, and why do you come back?
It's hard to say that I came back because I really never left. You know,
Really?
even my 11 years in the NFL, I always kept a place here and always came here in the off season. Besides the 3 years I was in Miami, I kind of stayed there year round. But
That's a nice place to stay.
yeah. So, but I've never left. I've always been here. No one really knows I've been here, but I've been here.
That's the most interesting thing about you. I've interviewed a lot of athletes in my career, lots. I have seen you for the past couple of years at the barbershop. And I started thinking you were a ninja because you would just kind of quietly move in, quietly move out. You are a really laid back human being. And as I kind of watched you move, I asked myself the question, who are you like? I don't know if it's your mom, I don't know if it's your dad. What is this laid back spirit that you have? Because it seems kind of at odds with what you've done as a professional athlete.
Right. I'm kind of a mixture of both my mom and my dad. The people that know me know I get in a certain mood, I'm like my dad, a certain mood, I'm like my mom. I get the calmness from kind of both of them. They're both kind of calm. And they had their moments, you know, just like I do, where I can get a little rowdy. But yeah, I like to stay on the radar and, you know, just be me. You know, like get a lot of limelight, you know, NFL type of thing. But I'm not that type of guy. You know, I don't like that type of stuff. So I kind of tread softly and just go about my own business.
Yeah, you didn't say carry a big stick. I like the way you did that. Go about my business. So, why though? Why are you that way? Why do you prefer not to be in the limelight? Because I mean, you were in a field where it's all about prime time. It's all about, that's how you make more money. That's how you raise your status is you got to be making comments after the game. You got to be dressing flashy. You've got to show up big on game day.
Right, and then, you know, that's all for show, you know, and I'm not saying I don't, you know, have a nice car and do that, you know, but it's like being flashy and that type of stuff. I've never been that type of person, and one thing my parents always taught me was to be humble. And you know, I came from very humble beginnings, and I'm just grateful for the things I have and the things I was able to do in my life. So I'm grateful for that, but at the same time, I don't like to boast and showboat about it, though.
Wow, that's neat. That's good. So tell me about your humble beginnings.
You know, I started as an Army brat. My dad was in the Army. My parents split when I was about 10 years old. So me and my 2 brothers and my mom moved from Germany back to Georgia, a little place in Georgia we used to stay. 4 of us really, my mom, we stayed in a trailer.
You?
Yeah, we stayed in a trailer park, and me and my brothers, we all shared one room in a trailer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You and your brothers, and were you big kids?
Yeah, I mean, we built kind of funny. Now, I was tall and skinny.
Right.
My older brother was short and wide. And then my youngest brother was kind of about middle height, a little narrow, so we was kind of built different ways.
It's like Tetris, you could kind of fit them.
Like a bar graph, you know, we kind of go up wide. And so, you know, and my mom worked a few jobs at a time, and, you know, sometimes I had to walk to jobs, and, you know, I've been through it all, man, and been back and forth to Germany 3 times. I've lived in Colorado, South Carolina, Georgia, everywhere.
What does life look like looking out the window of a trailer in a trailer court in Georgia? Do you see possibility out that window?
Yeah. For the simple reason that I always told my mom, like, I won't live here when I'm older. You know, it kind of, not that I'm embarrassed by it, not at all. You know, I kind of use it as fuel to make sure that I wasn't back here living in these type of conditions, and it wasn't that I was, you know, at the time I thought we had everything. You know,
Right.
my mom did everything she could to raise us, and my dad too, and I never thought I didn't have anything, you know, but
Right.
I knew the conditions we were living in weren't, you know, the norms, you know, and I mean, and eventually, you know, we got out of there, but, you know, that's where I started, you know, a few years of my life, and even when my mom and dad was married, we were still in the trailer a little bit, so I kind of use that as fuel to, like, you know, I kind of want to make sure that I'm comfortable in life.
That's interesting because I've noticed about possibility people, they leverage their pain differently. Like, so if you're not a possibility person, you have a painful moment, and all of us have that as part of our story at some level.
Right.
Some people leverage it and they define themselves by where they are. I'm nothing more than this. Possibility people see where they are and they go, all right, I'll show you. I'll remember this,
Right.
and that's kind of the way you
Right.
you leverage that. That's
Right.
a really strong thing. Did the breakup of your parents affect you?
It did. It did. And,
How so?
I mean, I love both my parents equal, love them to death. And it was just, I could see in my dad's eyes when we was at the airport that he didn't want us to leave. He didn't want us, I didn't know much about relationships to know what was going on in my mom and dad's relationship, but I know that the love my parents had for all of us, you know, and my mom was taking us and my dad wanted to keep us, and they kind of, you know, got in at the airport like, don't just let me keep the kids. And she's like, no, you're not taking my kids. So it's kind of, you know, it's,
Right.
and you can see that fire that both of them had and wanting to raise us and wanting to be a part of our lives. And, you know, I never forget that. And my dad always told us, you know, I don't care how big you get or what, you know, I'll always take you down if you don't take care of your kids. That's the one thing he always told us. And that's been us, all my brothers. I mean, I've got a couple more siblings down the line, but, and, you know, most of us have kids, and we've always lived by that motto.
Wow. I want to talk about how that impacted the way you approach being a father. We'll take a break. My guest is the one and only David Martin. Shh, he's quiet. Ninja. We'll be right back.
Possibility powered by Pilot Flying J, Covenant Health, Home Federal, and the Knoxville News Sentinel. Coming up.
I mean, I love football, but I didn't like playing it, you know, so I'm just still trying to grow and love the game as I grew, and here we are.
Hey, welcome back to Anything is Possible. This is David Martin. So we were talking about your parents splitting up, but him giving you kind of that charge, always take care of your kids. You have two children, Darius and Devin.
Yeah.
And Darius is 9, Devin is 5. Which one is most like you?
Devin.
Devin?
My little one is, yeah. It's kind of weird when you have one that looks just like you, but then one that acts just like you at the same time. So, I've never been a person that could see someone that looks like me, or like, you know, but with him, I just see his mannerisms. Everything is like me, and
You're like, that's me.
It's me all over again.
Here's a note that I have for myself. The phrase that I used for you was the accidental pro. When we talked prior to this interview, because you're so laid back,
Right.
you're like, well, I didn't start playing football until late in high school.
Yeah.
You were both a football star and basketball star, but if I remember correctly, you didn't start playing football until your junior year of high school.
Right. And like
You hadn't played.
Right, like you said, that was by accident, you know.
Would you tell me that story?
It's a very interesting story. I was always a basketball player at heart. I always told my mom I was going pro in the NBA or I was going to be a doctor. You know, that's just two things I told her I was going to do. So I started my NBA dreams. I didn't start playing basketball until my 8th grade, until I got in 8th grade. You know, because we moved around so much. It was just so hard to get settled with anything, get friends. But when I got to high school, I was playing basketball. Everything was going fine my sophomore and my freshman year, and we got a new varsity basketball coach who said, you know, we're doing football. When basketball season not in, you're going to be doing something. So my sophomore year, I tried cross country, you know, just to keep from, you know, just so I do something. I said, well, I won't try that again. So I was like, maybe I'll go sit on the bench in football, you know, just say I'm doing something in the off season, basketball off season. So I was like, Coach, I'll come out there, sit on the bench, whatever. Coach said, nah, you're going to be sitting on this bench. So,
you're going to be doing something.
Yeah, and it's funny that they was like, well, you're going to be our tight end. And then it's like, nah, you know what? I think we're going to put you at wide receiver. So and we took off from there. And it's just, I was getting college applications, college letters, like, after my first couple games.
But who does that? You were not trying to get on the team because you wanted to be a pro football player. You had NBA dreams. You just go get on they give you a spot and you start playing that position.
Right.
Most young athletes now have played all the way through. They have at least some sense of the position, the game, and you're telling me you just walked out there and go be a wide receiver and you're like, okay.
That's all I did, Now, I did watch football. Jerry Rice was my favorite player, so I kind of, like just visualized seeing some of that. And I wasn't out there all world, but it came easy. I was like, is this it? Once I remember my first practice, once it was over, I was like, are we done? So it was just, it just came easy. And, I still never I loved football, but I didn't like playing it. So I'm just still trying to grow and love the game as I grew, and here we are.
That is an amazing story. So what happened to your basketball dreams?
Well, once I got, after that first football season, and I was like, I had to play 3 basketball seasons and 1 football season in high school, and started looking at the college letters. It was probably like here to here, so I was like, maybe I'll lean this way, I was like, and my coach was telling me, David, you did this just raw. Now imagine you put a little effort into it, a little off season into it, and, really start working on your craft, where you'll be at. So, I listened to him, I started doing it, and hey man, it excelled from there.
That's amazing to me. The position of wide receiver is a skilled position. You got to have speed, you got to have hands, you got to be able to get off the line. There's a whole bunch of phases to route running and just being very productive. For you to say that it just came easy, I link back to one word you use, and I want to write this down because I want to come back to it later. You said you visualized what you saw Jerry Rice do. Mm-hmm. How big a part did visualization, or how big a part does visualization play in your life?
Oh, real big, and especially when I was playing ball, because a lot of times what I did was, and one coach told me this, was once you watch film and you visualize yourself making plays, once you get on the field, you already put yourself in that position, so right. You're already thinking that's why you see a lot of guys get mad on the field, because they know they're going to make this play. They know they visualize themselves making this play, and that's always a mind thought I put myself in. And I used to watch Jerry Rice and just like pick up subtle things he would do, like, on run plays, he would, kind of give him a little move, see what the DB is going to do, and it's a run play. So you see how he's playing you. And this is a certain thing like that, and I listened to his interviews and things he talked about. And then I did an interview with him, and I was kind of lost for words, because I'm like, it's Jerry Rice I'm doing an interview with. So
like, dude, you're Jerry Rice.
It was a phone interview, but still, I was like, man. But yeah, but as far as visualizing, man, and I take that back to my son, my oldest son, because he has a form of autism. So I've been kind of nervous about letting him play different sports, and he's starting to play basketball this year. And it's crazy because I try to teach him stuff, and I'm like, I ain't getting it, but I show it to him.
And he gets it.
He gets it.
Visualization.
Visualization, so it's a big part of it.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, you got college letters up to here, but you ended up at the University of Tennessee. I want to figure out how you picked through that stack to get to UT.
It's going to be interesting.
David Martin is my guest. This is Anything is Possible.
Coming up.
Watching football, watching sports, watching basketball, and not one day of me watching that stuff growing up that I picture myself in an NFL uniform. Not one day.
Welcome back to Anything is Possible. This is David Martin. Thank you for joining us on the broadcast
Thanks
today.
for having me.
So we were talking about you're the accidental pro. It's no accident, but life lined up that way. So you're getting all these college offers. How do you pick UT?
You know, it's
Wow, that breath was very
no,
interesting.
it was not a bad breath.
Right.
It's interesting because when I just happened to be watching football one day when I was trying to figure out the colleges I was going to visit, and was getting all these letters in, and Tennessee. I was living in Virginia. Tennessee didn't come down much down there, but you know, I just happened to see a game. I'm like, wow, look at that stadium. You know? So I told my coach, I said, man, I think I want to visit Tennessee. You know, so I made Tennessee my first visit. I went to Notre Dame, Penn State, and UNC, and I actually orally committed to Notre Dame. Urban Meyer was the wide receiver coach, and he kind of got me. When Lou Holtz left, long story, but anyway, when I came up early on my recruiting visit, and I came to a Tennessee-Alabama game. You know, they called this place Wide Receiver U, and you know, they was watching Peyton and Marcus Nash and Joey Kent and all those guys throw that ball around. He was in that stadium, and just the fire you got from that, it's like nonetheless. So of course that was my first visit, and I just knew that every other visit after that, nothing just matched what I got, the experience I got here. So, you know, as soon as I got done my last visit, I think probably after my third visit, I knew I was coming here.
You were coming here.
I just kind of went to North Carolina just for the kicks and giggles, but you know, not that there's anything wrong with the Tar Heels. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I knew where I wanted to go, and it was here.
So you end up as a pro football player. You end up at Green Bay. Mm-hmm. How does that happen?
Well, and it kind of goes back to my career here at UT. I didn't have the stats that an NFL prospect would have. I had the size and the ability and the speed, and I had a coach that my high school coach went to East Carolina to coach. My junior year, I ended up with a new high school coach my senior year. So he went to East Carolina to coach, and he was always telling the guys about me. And we'll go down there and watch their spring games. And there was a coach named Jeff Jagodzinski, who always liked me. He said, "I'm gonna coach you one day." I said, "Well, it won't be to this day. I'm going to Tennessee," you know. So I go to Tennessee. My career's over, and he comes to me at my pro day. He was like, "I told you I'm gonna coach you, didn't I?" I said, "Yeah, whatever." You know. He said, "Well, we got a 6th-round pick, and then we're gonna take you. And you're gonna play tight end for me." You know, I'm like, man, I'm a wide receiver, you know. So come draft day, and I'm like a 1st round, 2nd round, 3rd round. I'm like getting calls. I'm like, oh man. That pick came around, and they picked me. And Jeff got on the phone. I was like, "I told you I was gonna coach you one day." I was like, oh. So that's how it happened, and they ended up moving me to tight end. They drafted me as a tight end, and they loved my ability and how I matched up with linebackers, and I was able to learn the position real fast. And they thought I was just going to be a project. You know, that's why they took me so late. They felt I was going to be a project. You know, it was going to take me a few years of jail, but you know, Green Bay only had 6 picks that year, and I was the last pick, and I was the only one to dress out the first game. So,
wow.
Like I said, it's been a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication, but you know, I got it done. You know.
So I want to say one thing, and then you give me a reaction. I'll say one word: God.
Yeah, first and foremost. I moved around a lot. My mom always had us in church. Always had us in church, and not just to be in church, but to actually learn the word of God. And I've worshiped him, you know, ever since I can remember, ushering back in the hot churches in Georgia and on the dirt roads and stuff. And I try to install it in my kids now. I mean, my wife, she's been very big in helping us, you know, get the kids learning. And one thing I did do that I need to continue was to start Bible study. One of my good friends here, Andre James, that he actually played at UT too. He's still around. He asked me to do a Bible study with him, and you know, I've never really did Bible study, you know. So I've been doing that, and it's been interesting. You know, it's like stuff you think you know a lot of stuff just because you pray, and you know, but no, there's one guy told me that, you know, it isn't the way you live your life. God gave us the gift of life, and the way you live your life is your gift back to him.
Wow.
And, you know, if you out here doing the things that you don't need to be doing, it's not godly. And that's your gift, God. That's what you're giving back to God.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so.
Here's another. Kamisha.
Oh, man, she's been my backbone. You know, she was a professional track athlete, ran for Nike, ran for UT, of course, and she actually gave up her career just so she can raise her kids. And I mean, she was traveling all over the world and running. I think she's probably number 2 800 runner in the country at the time. And to give up her dream is something she'd been doing all her life to raise our kids and, you know, and put her career to the side. It was, I mean, you don't find too many of them like that, you know.
That's love.
And with my oldest son having autism, the work that she put in, I mean, she was pregnant with my second son and still driving my oldest boy all the way from here to Bethesda, Maryland, 8-hour trip in the car, pregnant, and doing that just so he can get the care that he needed. And it was, and she's put some work in, you know, and I don't really know what I would have done without her, honestly.
What have you learned from your son's autism?
Actually, it's got me and her really, really strong. I mean, when we first heard that, you know, much as I wanted to break down, I seen her breaking down. I knew that I had to be that rock for her, but we was kind of scared at first, you know. But then we said, look at the good side. He's not gonna get no better with us feeling sorry for him, you know. So we got on our horses and we researched, and it was hard. I mean, it was hard. The things he didn't want to play with no one. He didn't want to, you know, it was hard to get people to understand him. Someone to take him to daycare to kick him out the next day, you know, because his behaviors, it was just hard. But, you know, we couldn't get down on ourselves. We had to get stronger.
Do you believe that anything is possible?
Anything's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, I believe that just for the simple fact that I went so many years of traveling and watching football, watching sports, watching basketball, and not one day of me watching that stuff growing up that I picture myself in an NFL uniform. Not one day.
Wow. You're a great guy. Thank you for coming to do this today.
No problem.
The accidental pro ninja, God-loving, family-loving man. It's been great to have you on Anything.
Yeah, people around here calling me a ninja now.
God bless you, man. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next time.